These go in here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I've got a certificate of vote authorization. This is for the extension for the clean diesel grant that you guys signed last week. He said I need one of these too after the meeting last week. So this is just stating that I can sign what I signed, basically. I don't know who wants to sign it. Jo Beth, you did it last time. You need what? I attended, so those get put in the checks. I didn't see him. Is that the whole thing? Thank you.
You gonna sign that?
Before you sign that, I think, I agree that any documents, or the documents should come by the chair before, because that's just an open book and sign whatever.
No, that talks about the clean diesel grant.
Yeah, but unless I'm reading it wrong, it says, Janet Karen, town administrator, is duly authorized to enter into said agreement on behalf of the town of Dalton, New Hampshire, is further authorized to execute any documents which may in judgment be desirable to or necessary to effect purpose of this vote. I apologize. What's the date?
September 3rd. May have actually been the last meeting date. That's okay. I'll find it. Thank you. Meeting minutes for July 29th. Yes, Tom asked that we postpone these to this meeting. He didn't have time to review them last meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes
All
for
right, so
the July 29th meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Abstain. Yeah, I can put it.
Meeting minutes from August 9th.
I guess are a couple typos, but they were material. I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 9th.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. I can make it.
Non-public 1 and 2 from August 9th.
For number 1, I thought we did not seal the minutes.
Can we see them? Yep, sorry, I don't remember. Too many minutes.
Just 2, 3, and 4 where?
That was in the next meeting.
Oh, maybe this was earlier? Before the final decision.
Let me see. I may have,
Maybe we're waiting until that, you might be right. This was the 9th and we had another meeting afterwards. Do you have the minutes for the regular meeting there?
Yeah.
I should take a quick look at them.
I do. This was non-public number 1. See what non-public meeting minutes number 1 and 2.
Okay, you have the next meeting.
Could be. These are 2, 3, 4.
I make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes, number 1 and number 2 from August 9th.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting minutes for 8/26.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 8/26.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Non-public 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I corrected the ceiling of 1 and 5.
See a typo? Was is spelled W-A-S-E. Please. So I'll correct that. make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes from August 26, numbers 1 through 5, with number 1 and 5 corrected. The minutes are not sealed, and correction of a typo on number 1.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's all I have for signature today.
Funded for the broadband expansion.
There's not another meeting until September 26th.
Picnic area committee.
Nothing on it yet.
Transfer station revenue.
Nothing yet.
Select board for rules of procedure.
Not yet.
Solid waste tipping fees.
I forwarded you guys the proposal from Casella.
Did you see it? Yeah. It's cheaper than what we're doing right now.
Well, I don't think that's clear that it is.
Huh?
I don't think it's clear that it is, because right now we're not paying for recycling other than specific types of recycling, and this would add a recycling fee. So without a complete analysis, we don't know that it's cheaper. So recycling, this proposal would be $32 per ton. Right now, we're not paying anything for general recycling. Is that correct?
Right, the only thing we pay to recycle is electronics
And tires.
and tires.
And we get paid for a metal recycling. So we have income from metal.
Well, I think we still would, if they took that part over, the metal would go to wherever it's been going. And plus that's the other thing, and I'll talk to Jeanette more about it later, but, there's aluminum cans that we can send out to give revenue to the town as well. And they, we gotta look into it, and I will do more of that and bring it back. But
We also don't pay anything for mattresses per mattress. We don't have a fee, that just goes in our general garbage. So that would be an additional expense too.
the mattresses, well, they go into the construction can, which we're getting charged for when we bring it up to.
Right, but not at $19 a mattress.
Yeah, I didn't know, it's by the weight.
Well, right, it's
Yeah.
$72 a ton. I don't know how many mattresses would equal a ton.
Yeah,
I think it
know,
would be
depends
quite a
if they
bit.
get wet or not. That's the other thing. And having them covered is a smart thing.
I mean, if you had 3.5 mattresses and sent them here, it would cost more than what it costs for us to send them to Carberry at $72 a ton.
We'll have to check into that more to find out. I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing over yet, but.
Twin City trails.
She sent an email to selectmen and copied me. You guys should have all received the update that she had.
She was asking for letters of support too as well.
Yep, and I let her know that we had sent a letter to the Vermont Rail Systems.
Did we share their response with her so they know if she has that information?
I don't think that we did.
And the letter of support they were requesting, is that a general letter of support or to a specific entity? I'm trying to remember.
She just says that the Transportation Advisory Committee says that their project is still of high interest and they would like to have letters of support from the towns that abut the rail corridor. And then just asked if we would provide a letter. So it looks like it's just a general letter.
To the committee.
Yes.
I make a motion that we provide a letter of support for the Rails to Trails project.
I'll second it.
Excuse me, the support hasn't put it through, or?
That we encourage them, that we conceptually support having the Rails to Trails program and the rail system for bicycles.
Oh, I see, yeah.
She did provide a sample letter in her email.
Because
And
that's
I
what I
also-
get out of it when I'm reading it, that they're gonna do it anyways. If I'm, if I read the right.
Well, they've got a pretty extensive trail network.
Yeah,
And like in Vermont, it's great. They've got nice bridges and things. I mean, they're having to repair some from the floods.
Yeah.
But it's a great system and businesses are relying on the traffic, the recreational traffic for restaurants and bike shops and sporting goods shops. So it's good for the economy as well.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we provide a letter of support, a strong letter of support, and also that we provide the contact with the communication we had with the railroad company.
So you want me to include a copy of our letter to them and their response?
No, I think it should be separate.
Okay.
I think we should have our letter of
Separate from
support.
this?
Right.
Yes.
And then, but I think we also just, to close the loop, should let them know, send her the communication we had with the rail company. Do you want that, 2 separate motions? Okay.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. I should have included in the motion, it's all right for Jeanette to draft the letter and on our behalf
yeah.
without coming back here.
The NCC Transportation Improvement Plan.
Were you going to do a motion for me to send the letter to Vermont Rails that we sent to Vermont Rail Systems and the response, or wait, just send it?
Just send it.
Just send it.
Okay.
Do you want me to amend the motion to?
No, it's fine. Nothing on the improvement plan. They didn't have a quorum in their last meeting, so they couldn't vote.
Tilson Parkside.
We should have something in the next month or so.
I need to back up here a second on the transportation project proposal. Is this an old proposal from them?
Which proposal? The NCC Transportation Improvement Plan?
The transportation project proposal.
I don't know what you have in front of you. This is Whitefield.
That was on our email.
On what email? That's Whitefield. That doesn't have anything to do with Dalton.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't know how to get on my computer. All right.
I don't recall ever seeing it.
Eversource presentation, September 30th.
It will be here on the 30th.
Community Power presentation, September 16th.
It will be here on the 16th.
Personnel policy changes.
Have to wait, still I'm not ready on that.
Can we make the adjustments that we need to make for the changes that were proposed a month ago? And then we can revisit.
It was for Owen and,
What's that?
it was with two new guys.
Oh, yeah,
So it was for the training?
Yeah.
They're paying hourly
And
wage
pension.
and also the retirement.
Yeah.
So are we ready to print it out and sign those changes?
You'll send that out after you print it out so I can read it at home, after you make the changes.
Yes, it'll be exactly as the draft you got.
Okay.
So I
You
should
want a
have that
motion?
printed for the next meeting.
I think so. I make a motion that we approve the personnel policy changes as noted at our last meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
The highway equipment operator opening.
I got feedback from Adam late last week, so the ad will be placed this week online.
Okay.
Are we using Indeed.com?
Yes, that's the only place we ever get responses.
Bridge repairs, state fund work.
Hasn't happened yet.
Tax rate setting and training.
That's the training that information was sent to you guys.
Tax bill insurance.
Tax bill issuance,
Yes.
that was just what we discussed last meeting about the importance of getting it out right away.
So before we can issue the tax bills, we have to set the tax rate.
Fun times, be ready.
Excuse me, just, I gotta ask a question, back one on N, tax rate setting and training.
Yes,
Is that to do with the Academy for Good Governance?
nope, it came from DRA.
Okay, I don't recall it, I'll look again. But now that I said that, I tried to sign up for that because I want to do those courses.
They confirmed that you were signed up.
They did confirm it?
Yeah, they didn't send you an email?
They
'Cause they
Well,
had-
I went off after I did it, so they might have.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
But the tax rate setting training was different. It came from DRA.
I don't think it's till the 30th of September.
It's late.
It's late.
Yeah, I can't remember the date.
Let me know if you can't find it.
Yeah.
Can we go back to Eversource? Sorry. They're doing, public information sessions on this X-178 line rebuild project. They are coming here to present on the 30th, but on September 11th, they're doing, a presentation it says drop-in Campton at the municipal building, or on Thursday the 12th at Profile School in Bethlehem. And I'll post this on the bulletin board out there if anybody's interested.
Can you send those to us?
I can.
Anytime?
Property auction.
they're taking care of sending out letters, and they'll be sending their contract.
The election September 10th.
Yeah, we're all set.
We have workers and everything.
Plenty of workers.
And Tom, you're gonna be here when the polls
yeah,
open, right?
yeah.
And then how late can you stay?
I'm gonna try to stay till 1, but.
Okay, I'll probably come late morning then.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's fine. That's what we did last time, it worked out good.
and,
I'm gonna come around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
okay, good. Then I'll leave about that time. Okay.
Then the building committee,
No updates.
conservation committee,
Not tonight.
planning board, don't meet till tomorrow. Grant funding opportunity,
There's no updates there.
clean energy, New Hampshire solar grant.
There's no updates on any of those.
Okay. Emergency road repairs,
Adam's not here. He was gonna try to make it, but he's been out.
Yeah, I think he gets started putting the gravel down,
Oh, yeah, they did.
and you get the excavator.
No, we don't have the excavator yet.
you got the roller running though.
The roller's out.
And Tom and I took a look at Smith with Adam. And I also started trying to look about how you create a new road. The more I read, the more I realize we're gonna have to have legal counsel before we
Yeah.
move forward on anything. My takeaway was that it would be a lot cheaper if we could move the road over to that other property.
Yeah, because there's quite a bit of work that he has to do to fill in there, and if they could turn that and go up over that bank. But again,
We'd have to work with legal about an easement or purchase. And
I think it's gonna be more an easement, because before I left, I kinda looked at that, and the way we was talking, it's gonna go right through the corner of their house,
yeah,
so something else would have to be done. One other thing we need to look at too, and probably ask legal about, if we was to buy it, would they still reimburse us? You know,
that's part of the question,
yeah, 'cause
is how much we.
I don't know that answer.
I don't either. I mean, it seems like it might not be FEMA, it might be USDA with the mitigation, because we're trying to mitigate future loss.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of work, but we need to move quickly because we have to do something before winter.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we as a board meet with the attorney to talk through this issue.
Yeah.
And that prior to that, we ask Jeanette to provide background information, so things like the lots that we're talking about, pictures of the damage, and a summary of the situation.
Yeah, I'd second that, because we do have to talk to legal on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We did get this in the mail actually from the attorney, asking for signature on their representation. I did notice a discrepancy in the paralegal amount that they have in their billing schedule. I printed out the July 24th legal services document that said it was $105 an hour. But on their statement of billing policies, they say it's $140 to $180 an hour for paralegals. in the July letter that came from them? Are you looking at the rate?
I'm looking at the general representation. So is the attorney that you talked with, Nathan?
Nathan.
So he must be an associate, not a partner in his rate. And just to clarify from the discussion last week, they do charge for travel expenses, parking and mileage. Computer research charges or any court costs, of course.
All the same, honestly.
Are they looking for a retainer? How much is Eric?
No.
They don't want a retainer? Here it says that they, for new clients, we customarily request an appropriate retainer.
You told me.
They're all the same.
Different.
It should be the same. Those two should be the same.
These two are the same.
Oh, is that the statement of billing something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. That's where I found the difference in the billing rate for paralegals. If you look at that white piece of paper underneath those, his original letter said $105 an hour for
Yeah.
paralegals.
It's a little bit disconcerting where they're not consistent in the period of a couple of weeks. Phone call will answer question. And this letter does state that travel costs will be billed at costs, which is a correction from the discussion for that prior meeting. I circle back to the Smith Road issue? Do we want Adam involved in that meeting with the attorney?
Oh, yeah.
And I would assume it would be a virtual meeting. It's Zoom or whatever platform they use.
So if we tell them about that road, they're gonna wanna retain it before they come up and talk to us. My understanding.
That's why I asked. I mean, that would be that would have been one of the questions I would have asked the attorneys were I involved in the selection process. So we don't know if they're going to want to retain it or not. Are you clear one way or the other, Eric?
He said no.
He said no, okay.
When he comes, we have to get a hold of him to go over that road. So when they're gonna have to come up to look at that, correct? Or is that something we could do over the phone?
I would think that we could send them pictures, we could send them the map showing what we're talking about. And we'll have to see. I mean, normally I would think we would have a Zoom meeting where you can share documents.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing with Adam is I think we need Jeanette involved in that meeting because she's the one who has all the information.
She has the pictures too, right?
Yeah.
I've got everything.
Well, if we have to move on, I move that we have to sign that first, right? Then move to set up a Zoom so that we can get going on that one, the bridge, the road.
Right, we had already acted on that. I just was circling back to clarify a couple of pieces on it.
We'll sign it.
We probably need a motion because this is the actual document, the actual contract.
Make a motion to sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, how are we going to ask for communication by email?
Yeah.
To the administrator or to the select board, the email address?
Selectboard.
Am I going
On
to
that vote,
CC on those?
I didn't vote. I'll sign this because it's the board decision. I'm going to vote nay because I still think there are questions that we as a board didn't ask as we were evaluating firms.
I'm sorry, Eric, I didn't hear your.
Yeah.
There's 2 copies there, they asked for both to be signed. Can I have my other piece of paper back? Thank you.
That's the last one.
Yeah, I have a question about, I know we don't have zoning, we don't have permits, we don't have inspectors, but I was curious as to why we don't require businesses or people building things other than homes to have a permit process with us. I mean, many other towns, I think almost all other towns have some type of process.
I think they all have zoning.
There are towns that don't have zoning, but they still have fees associated with. I think we need to look at our fee structure. Because we don't charge anything for any type of permit. We charge $26 for a planning board fee, which doesn't even cover the amount of work that goes into it from an administrative standpoint. And there's,
Yeah, and I think the planning board hasn't looked at fees at least for the last couple of years, so I think it is true that we should look at those.
Any question of that?
Yeah, what kind of structures are you talking about? Chicken coops, garages,
no,
farms?
I said anything other than like a home, like under canvas.
Your inventory, they're supposed to put on there what they change.
Yes, that's for residential. I'm talking about things other than residential.
So you're not talking residential as far as permitting, or are you talking
No,
just
that's why I said
businesses?
other than residential.
And why
So
would
like
you wanna-
under canvas.
Why would you wanna, why?
Why wouldn't you? So that you know what's going on in your town,
Well,
you
you have
know.
to send your assessor out, and he assesses the change. And then they get
But
taxed
that's
appropriately.
already happened, that's residential, Pam. So think about
Businesses, don't
everything
they
but residential.
Don't businesses get assessed?
We don't have that many, we don't really have many businesses in
Then
town.
why bother with a permit for so few businesses?
Well, you have new businesses coming to town, so why wouldn't you wanna know what your new
It sounds
businesses
a
are
lot
doing?
like we're starting to talk zoning again.
Permitting and zoning
are two
Very different.
completely different things.
However,
I'm not talking about zoning. That's why I didn't say anything about zoning. I said,
I know the
Permit.
difference, Jeanette. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
well, then please don't speculate that I'm talking about zoning. I'm talking about permitting. I'm
Okay.
talking about the fact that
Conversation's
we
done.
have businesses that call, that ask about permitting, ask about electrical stuff, ask about building a storage unit or building a this or a that or a whatever it is they want to build on their property. And the answer is just do whatever you want. You have to follow state and federal and fire
That's-
marshal guidelines,
That's right.
which is great, except that then as a town, we have absolutely no idea what is being built until it's already done. Because
And then you
I
don't
know
sign
this
it
might,
as
hold
assessor.
on, let me finish speaking,
Yes,
please.
ma'am.
I know this might come as a surprise to you, but not everyone is honest on PA 28s.
It doesn't
So-
come as a surprise. Jeanette.
So then you find out about it after it's already done. So you don't have a chance to say anything or say, hey, you built this, but you're not in the right setback, or you did that,
If
and
they're following state regulations,
they should be. But some people don't.
you can always force the point.
Can I interject a question? Ron, you do, inspections for fire code, right? So what prompts you to know to do those? Because we don't have any process where they're coming before the town.
That's all on the state. Any business is gonna have to meet state fire code when they come in. Nothing
But you
to
do
with
but you inspect them, right?
Yes,
So what prompts you to inspect them?
usually after the fact, which is exactly what we're talking about. They come, they build it, and then we hear about it, and then we go, and I'm a big asshole because I go inspect it and then tell them they did stuff wrong, and then we run into problems because they don't come to us originally and follow through with it. It's a whole lot simpler if you know about it ahead of time. They come in with a plan, you review the plan, you discuss it, and as it gets built, you build it to code, and it simplifies everything. So you're absolutely right, there should be a permit.
I mean, people will call about, hey, I've got this land, I want to build this house and this garage and that, can I do that? Yes. You have to follow state, federal, or state and fire marshal guidelines. Oh, okay, great. Do you know where I could find those? I mean,
We don't do anything,
You know, and-
residential is not.
and I let them
included in
know it's a courtesy to the town to come in and at least with a hand sketch and say, this is what I plan to do, so that they can look at it and say, oh, your setback isn't big enough here, or your whatever, you know. I always tell them your septic has to be approved by the state, that we have nothing to do with that. Your well has to be so many feet from your septic, you know, you should probably hire an engineer. I can't tell you what to do, but I could make suggestions. It's just, it would be a nice way for the town to know, now that we have DRA helping us with assessing, they have found 10, 12, 15 properties where changes have been made to current use properties and they've never been reported.
And some are better than others. Under Canvas has come to
Sure.
us ahead of time.
Yep.
They have an engineering firm, so they're aware of what they have to do.
Right.
They actually expected to have to file a permit.
That may be who
Because-
actually emailed me today.
That's what they normally would do.
Not just
And
that,
they
but
would
it's
expect to do that.
also a revenue to the town.
Sure.
I mean, it's not gonna be a revenue stream, but at least it might cover some of our costs.
Well,
Yes.
I think, because there are administrative costs.
Whitfield's running into this big time with a lot of stuff, and they are consistently talking about impact fees on businesses that are coming in to offset some of the expenses of the inspection work and all of that stuff that needs doing.
we had residents come in today and ask me if I knew about a business that bought a residence in town and is modifying it to be
Yeah, funny thing, I just barely heard about.
some type of home
That-
for developmentally challenged people, and it's gonna have 5 to 8 residents and a full-time staff, and
That will have
like,
to
that's
be-
something the town should know about.
That will have to be major fire code.
Sure.
That would be a big.
And they gotta have state licensing, anything that the state is required to license, we find out about because the state sends me something as the town clerk and says, are you aware that Team O'Neill is applying for this, or that Ridgeline is applying for that, or that so-and-so
We get other questions on the phone.
filed for a liquor, manufacturing. So we find out about that, but otherwise we don't find out about it until after the fact.
You
So
want a permit for Casella, everything they did, right?
this
That would
has
be right.
nothing to,
I'm just saying, if they come in, that's what you would like to do, is permit, so that you knew what they were going to do ahead of time.
we already know what they plan to do. So it's kind of a moot point with Casella. Thanks for bringing that up, but I wasn't even thinking about Casella, but
Jeanette, James had his hand up for a while.
I'm sorry, I'm not the chair, so I can't call on him, but you can.
I would be very surprised at the towns that are collecting permit fees. I would think that they all have building inspectors. And it seems like a big disconnect for us to assess fees, but to have no one who is able to look at a plan and say whether that plan complies with anything. So unfortunately, I think this is a slippery slope to getting a building inspector. And so I would think that, whatever we charge would need to fund the position of a building inspector. Do we have enough people who would apply for permits to actually pay for a building inspector? But I think it's a pointless exercise if we don't actually inspect plans and say they're appropriate.
I think you'll find that the state sends out the inspectors. When you get new buildings going up, I'm sorry, there is inspectors. They have plumbing inspectors, they have building inspectors.
Not here. I built a
No.
house here. The only permit that I was required to get was a driveway connection
If
permit.
you're doing your own house, probably,
Nope, and
But
a
if you're a
septic,
builder-
permit.
because I know of people that have already been inspected by,
It falls on the town. If you do not have a building inspector by state RSA, the fire chief is the building inspector.
And what we did with zoning is we made it clear that the applicant was responsible for following the state building codes, because we didn't have a building
It'd just
inspector.
be nice to know ahead of time, that's all, this stuff is happening.
And may-
It would
and
just be
maybe-
simple. It would
maybe
simplify things,
A
that's
permit
all.
fee is the wrong term.
Mike, you got your hand up?
If you get a licensed plumber or electrician, you automatically have permits that are issued to those guys for doing your house. If they didn't do that, and did you have a licensed plumber or electrician?
There were no inspections.
Did you have a licensed
Yes, of course.
electrician and plumber?
Of course. There are no inspections. The
Uh,
power company takes a look at
And
the
your
work.
plumber and electrician did not do what they were supposed to.
Listen to our fire chief.
No, seriously, they didn't do what they were supposed to.
Well,
They're
anyways,
required to file a permit with the state for both electrical and plumbing.
You're incorrect.
People don't do it,
Well,
and the state doesn't have time to.
So,
they're
getting
still
back
required to do
to
it.
the permit or whatever you want to call it, the main thing that I see as an issue is that it is costing the town money, or maybe it's not, I don't know, but it's taking up town resources for Ron to go in our road crew to go and check these things out. Is there a way that we get paid back for their time?
No.
And I think that's not zoning. I'm not even sure what you call it. But why is the town paying for a business that's gonna come in and profit? They should be paying.
And maybe
Whatever
usage
it's offered.
fees is the answer. Maybe that's better than saying permit fees.
It's a big discussion everywhere. I mean, we're not the only ones that are looking at this. There's a lot of other towns that are looking at the same thing. It's costing money to go out and do all this stuff, and obviously it's coming out of taxpayers, so what is fair? It's a big discussion. It's a big discussion everywhere, but it would be good to know ahead of time what is going on. I won't go into it. I got an instance in town now where somebody went off and just kind of did something on their own. It's against state fire code. It's gonna really be not a good situation when I have to go in and deal with the problem. It should have been brought forward before it was done, but now that it's done and over with, now I have to go in and deal with this, and it just makes for a real hate and discontent after the fact. It would have been a whole lot simpler from the get-go to have known about it and discussed it with them and got it put in appropriately in the first place. We don't know what's going on. The stuff's getting done, and then somebody calls me up and says, oh, by the way, do you know that this is going on? Well, once somebody's called me, then it's a complaint, if you will, and then I have to go address it after the fact. And it's not pleasant. So much simpler from the start to deal with it. Like I said, this under canvas thing, they've been forward right from the get-go. They've discussed it with us from the get-go. They're gonna present plans ahead of time, or at least it seems to me that they've taken the right approach, but that's not happening in every situation. There should be some way of at least knowing that this is happening, so that then we could say to them, make sure from the start that you follow the appropriate steps. It makes it a lot better. I actually replied to a letter to Casella and said exactly that. Please work with us from the start. If this happens, and it's a lot easier and it's a lot simpler, and that way everybody's on the same page, and when we're done, everything is signed off and there's no problems. Yeah, exactly. What would it take to do a simple permit of some kind?
So it seems like maybe a first step would be to find out what some of the other towns, small towns are doing. And then check and see what's allowable and.
I'm gonna look into this. I'm gonna go around and do some checking myself. I'll call the state, see what they adopt.
Like which division of the state?
What's that?
Which division of the state?
I don't know, I'll find out.
If the state doesn't do anything, it falls to the town first. The only thing the state's
It
involved in
doesn't
is
matter,
septic.
I'll look into it and find out.
Sure.
If I need a resource, I can call the state fire marshal and they will come in on my say-so and assist me with anything that we need for inspection wise. They have inspectors on staff that are there to assist the fire chiefs within the towns. So that, as far as that goes, I can get their assistance at any point by simply making a phone call to them.
So I don't know if this is from a planning board perspective or a town perspective or select board, but just thinking ahead for some of these businesses, if we only have 20 cars going down a road, and then this new business is coming in, and they're gonna have 100 cars going down the same road. And this has nothing to do with Casella, by the way. Yeah, but you always do. So anyhow, I just, when their taxes aren't going to cover the cost of the road maintenance, is there something that we can do? And that's what I've been calling, and I can't figure it out.
So you brought that up at another meeting. I think that we should talk to, when we have the meeting on Smith Road returning, that we should ask about that.
Because it doesn't seem fair to charge everybody in the town for one piece of property that, where you would, maybe somebody's property, maybe they aren't, but why is the rest of the town gonna pay for the road, the impact on the road?
Upgrades.
Yeah, we can do upgrades, but the maintenance on the road.
A business come in, and then we have to pay for their upgrade to be able to get their stuff in and out.
I'll let Ridgeline know.
Well, it's
Well,
simple down.
we'll look into it.
We'll look into
Thank you.
it. Do we have any non-public?
Yes.
Yes.
I make a motion to go.
So wait a minute, before we go into non-public, you sent out an email about asking for comments or questions because you're going to Coventry. Can you talk a little bit
Thursday.
about that?
Going up to meet with the select board and the administrator
And so,
and people around the dump.
with the coverage of the landfill. So what prompted that, if I can ask?
Just curiosity.
Okay. And
I
so,
wanna know more about it.
well, that's a good thing, but why are you doing it independently instead of as a board?
Cause I was curious.
I know, but this is a board issue, you know, if it's a town issue, you'd be
Well,
with your
you wanna-
select board, then.
You wanna go up?
Well, it would have been nice to coordinate. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I would have to change my stuff around.
Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
Thursday.
Your email says Wednesday.
No, it says Thursday. The 5th.
Nope, your email says September 5th. Sorry. I must have been looking at the August calendar. My apologies.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we do things as a board, not as
I was
individuals.
just curious. That's the only
Well, I
reason
know,
I'm going.
but it would have been nice to come to the board and have us, you know, agree and to coordinate with us instead of just going off as an individual.
I looked at it, he's just gonna ask questions. Myself, I'm not going, you know, I mean, you know, asking questions. And that's why I saw his email. If you get any questions, if you get any pertinent questions,
Mhm.
you know, throw them at him and he's gonna ask them.
And I'll
He's gonna bring
definitely have questions.
He's gonna bring that stuff back to the board.
And
And that's with him, and if he was by himself, he's only doing research. It's not a meeting problem, you know. It's like anybody else, when you do something, you do it by yourself, you're doing research to bring back. But, you know, as you know, you're getting going up, go up. I don't have no problem with it.
yeah, I might. I mean, we'd have to post it as a meeting, you know, that we're going, you know, we won't do any town business, but we're going to. What time are you leaving?
In the morning.
What time?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna be there at 10.
Where is that?
Coventry.
Yeah.
You know, it's up by, it's on Lake Memphremagog, northern Vermont.
About what, an hour and a half trip.
I don't know.
Airport Road, Newport.
Just below Newport, yeah.
Do you folks know how long it'll be non-public before you do public questions?
Well, we should do
We can do public questions now.
public comments before.
Could we do that first, and then we don't sit around?
Yeah.
Is that what's up next?
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. I want to first of all thank the select board for inviting Casella to visit with us a month ago and to share some of their ideas as to what their plans are. For 4 or 5 years, we have not had that cooperation from the select board. And it's clear that the select board here tonight was open to Casella and open to have the dialogue with them. You need me to move there so I can get in the film?
No.
You don't need? Great. Some of the things that I sat through, we couldn't ask questions, but some of the points that were being made really didn't have anything to do with the tipping fee piece. It was more landfill piece. And I wasn't quite sure why those questions were being asked when it was really about the agreement that we may come to. But to touch on some of that, because we couldn't respond, there seems to be a person who's very concerned about the truck traffic. And I don't believe there's going to be any truck traffic to Dalton until they get onto the driveway and into the site. But I think about the truck traffic and say, well, there's logging trucks that haul on Route 3, 142, 135. There are tractor trailers, trucks going to the grocery stores. I mean, I can go on and on. And there has been for 100 years. And I'm wondering why somebody might think, or a group might think, well, we can take truck traffic, but we can't take that kind of truck traffic, which we already do. I guess my question is, where do we truck? How do they truck the trash from the recycling center up to Success? Do they go into Lancaster up to, or do they go, does anybody know?
Say that again?
When they haul the trash from the recycling center up to Success to dump?
Oh, I don't know, they go to Gorham, right?
To Berlin,
Berlin,
yeah.
so I would imagine they go right out 116,
Through Jefferson,
yeah.
Right
through what?
right through Whitefield?
Well, 116, that's where you connect on.
Right. I guess my question is, there's lots of concerns about this truck traffic driving in front of schools. Well, we're taking the trash from our recycling center to Success in front of schools. So the hypocrisy of saying, well, we can't have this truck traffic going in front of schools, but when we have to haul our trash, it can go in front of schools. And that I find to be, I kind of shook my head saying, well, I've heard this before. Secondly, there was some debate, well, they're overpricing the benefit of trash pickup at homes. Casella put it at $150,000, and one of the members said, oh no, it's only gonna be $15,000. I don't think people understand, if we have the trash pickup at our house, we're no longer buying bags. That's a savings for everyone in the town, not just for a select few. And again, we start looking at the hypocrisy of these arguments. And as the Casella person said outside that evening, he says, go try to ask Wayno what they will charge if they had home pickup in every place in Dalton. It's going to be over $150,000. Over. And he said, we're trying to be good neighbors. We're trying to benefit the town. And I think for too long, we've had a very small group of people trying to tell the town of Dalton as a whole what's best for them. And now we are in a position where I think the select board is looking at the best interest of everyone and not just a few. Finally, about 4 years ago, we transferred our trash from going to Bethlehem to Success. It was about 4 years ago. And when I asked for these statistics on it, Jeanette was very good about giving them to me. And I kind of went through them. And there was a meeting about 3 years ago when I came in here and said, this is costing us more to send the trash to Success than it was to Bethlehem. And I had the numbers to prove it. I'm going to ask, I'm not sure what the process is. What would be the process if we said, you know what, we're going to go back to Bethlehem. We're not going to truck our trash 40 miles away. We're only going to truck it 10 at a savings. What's the process?
Not sure.
So could I just mention a couple of things? And when Casella was here, so they talked about if they took our trash now, it would be a $65,000 value. Right now, we are only paying less than $15,000 a year for tipping fees. So that's where the discrepancy, it's really not fair to say that it's, it may cost them that, but that's not what the town would save because we would still have transportation costs. My understanding of the people who are talking about traffic, it's the volume of the traffic. With us, we have one truck going, how many times a month do they go?
They go twice a month.
I was gonna
Twice
say
a month.
two
Two times.
trucks a week would be,
2 times a month.
2 times a month.
They go with our regular trash. And then if we have a demo, we as needed.
Right. So that's different than 100 trucks a day going like through Whitefield and past the elementary school.
So-
Or
If Casella is successful in placing their landfill there at Ingerson's, what part of Dalton will these 100 trucks be going through per day?
I think there's concern about people surrounding.
I'm not talking about the surrounding, we're talking about Dalton. How much road will those trucks travel in Dalton if the landfill is in Ingerson's Industrial Park?
So the other thing is.
Zero. Jo Beth, just answer it, it's zero.
Actually,
There's no
could be-
miles.
Actually, it could be a lot, because if DOT stops them going through Littleton, they're gonna have to come through Dalton to come around.
No, they
to
won't.
there.
They'll go through Whitefield. They
That's
won't
right,
touch,
but
they
still,
won't touch an inch of Dalton's road.
how are they
and-
gonna get from Whitefield from 93?
How do they get right
Okay,
probably
point,
Route 3.
point of order, this is
Hey,
a select
so stop
board.
for, okay, hold
No,
on.
this is the select board meeting, and you should be addressing the select board, and you should be addressing the select board, not
I
each other.
am addressing the select
No,
board.
you were just having a
And
private
I think this is
conversation.
the first time I've ever heard a select board question someone who has a public comment. I did ask a question, how do we change the, sending our trash back to Bethlehem then to success? I did ask that question. But Jo Beth wanted to go off on what she was talking about a month ago. And rarely do I see a select board ever come back at someone just doing public response. Rarely. I'm not saying it could never happen, but hold on, I'm not done yet.
Hey,
I'm not done
that's
yet.
enough, that's a lot of
Okay, we're gonna
time.
go back to this $65,000, $15,000, piece. Jo Beth, we might be spending $15,000 a year to truck our traffic to success. That may be true. I'm gonna take your word for it that that's true. But I'm paying, I don't know, probably $50 to $60 a year, my family, for the bags. As is yours, as is yours, as is yours, as is yours. We can go right around the table. We're all paying that. And if all of a sudden Casella's gonna say, well, you know what, you don't have to buy the bags anymore. We'll take the trash. And we'll, as a community service, we'll dispose of it and we'll recycle it. So yes, there's a savings to everyone in the community when that happens, not just a select few. And we have to, call a spade a spade. Let's be honest. Okay? This has been going on for 5 years. And we now have a board that's willing to sit and listen and work with them instead of against them. And I appreciate that. And I know there's others in this town that appreciate that. And that's all I have to say.
Can I make a correction? I feel the need to make a correction, please. I wasn't here 4 years ago, so I don't know who he got that accounting from, but I haven't been here for 4 years, just so you know. Thank you.
And you came in and you picked 2 specific weeks to do your comparison.
That's
back
not true.
Quite a few years ago.
That's not
You
true.
did- I could pull it out from previous meetings, because the next meeting you weren't here, but I had done an analysis a year long, and it was a savings at that time to go to Mt Carberry, including transportation costs. But, and Carol can weigh in here, when the board made the change, it was really to be prospective, because we knew that Bethlehem was reaching capacity and would be closing, and to make sure that we had a foothold and some place to send our trash. That was really the impetus for it, and the cost saving was a secondary benefit.
So I'm going to respond. I went back 3 years. It wasn't 2 weeks. I went back 3 years to what the costs were with Bethlehem. Then we started with success, and I looked at, okay, there was about 8 months that we were going to success. I said, that's all I could do is 8 months. And I looked at that. Oh, believe me, I made comparisons years in front of this.
I have 2 comments. One, we had generated more trash during COVID because kids didn't go to school, people were home. Whether you deny it or not, we've generated more trash during that time. And second, I've heard of towns that have to purchase bags because other town people were bringing their trash into the free people's town to get picked up. So they made a rule you have to buy trash bags, and the town that I know, they have to buy orange ones specifically because other towns are going, oh, we'll just take our trash to my brother's house. He pays nothing. So,
Well, that's something to look into, there's no question there.
but during COVID, we did have more trash generated. I don't care what anybody says. The schools were low, but they didn't have any students.
Mike?
I'm neutral on whether Casella comes to town or not. But one factor that nobody has mentioned is that if Casella picks up everybody's trash, you're now saving time every Saturday or Tuesday taking your trash to the transfer station, plus gas, and all the other parts of that. And they're paying their guys with their trucks to pick up all the trash right at your doorstep. All you gotta do is put it out at the driveway. So look how much time you could save. I know that every Saturday, and I live close, it's a half-hour ordeal to go to the transfer and get rid of the stuff.
That's why we need to have another discussion with them to find out more about the do's and the don'ts. Because like, again, you got the cans, you got the metal, you know, so the transfer station would have to stay upright, I would think. But that's my opinion right now. But anyways,
Right.
we need to be able to talk with them, and go ahead.
Kathy?
Yeah, with what everybody has said, the other piece I need to point out is when they do start going around to everybody's home, you're gonna have more trucks and traffic on all of the current roads, dirt and whatever have tar. So there's gonna be some impact on the town roads. So I think that's something we all need to be aware of, especially after this disaster, where some of these roads still need a lot of work done.
Well, I'm sure those roads will be fixed by then, and truck-wise, there'll be only one truck making the loop. But anyways, is there any more discussion on that?
On that, just the one discussion, not one thing, the bears, just bears.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Just bears?
That came to my mind too. There's always bears. They did mention at that meeting, we didn't have it on there, but I'd like to move to have, because I said they would come in, do hamburgers or hot dogs, and for any of the residents that can come and ask questions, you know, and give their input to all this, and I think it's only fair to follow up with that. So I'd like to move, and at least if Jeanette can send them an email to find out if they're still willing to do that, but it'll be just for the residents only.
Why would it be just residents? Because
Because it's
the
a
whole
town of
community
Dalton,
is
we're not,
impacted
we're
by
not dealing with Whitefield or Little, we're dealing with Dalton. And it should, because it can be out of hand with every Tom, Dick, and Harry here. Unless they say otherwise. If
I disagree with that. I think that if you're going to have questions, it can't be, oh, everybody went because it was a cookout. I think a lot more people would come if it was a session where you sat and you asked questions and leave out the bribery. Because I can tell you people aren't going to go for that reason.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up, a new law got signed in by the governor, HB 1221. So in that, it now indicates that something like a new landfill is a regional impact. So you're gonna need to double check if you're gonna need to reach out to those that are surrounding based on that new law.
Would you call that HB?
HB 1221. That was signed in July and becomes law this month.
I'm pretty sure if you really want honesty and people coming and asking questions, it can't be a cookout. It has to be set up as a meeting in the auditorium.
Any more questions?
Are we done with that subject?
I think so.
Well, one of the things that I was disappointed to hear tonight is that there's a lot of stuff going on the 16th here, because I was going to recommend for the Selectboard to attend the SAU 36. There's going to be a school funding and property taxes presentation, and since our school funding or our taxes, 60% of our taxes go to SAU 36. I just think it would be great if we all understood how these formulas get done and how they impact us and how the state might be able to provide us some relief if the fair taxation gets in. And I would think that you guys as select board members.
You're talking about the school system?
Yeah.
I went to that. You know how many people showed up? I think maybe 2 or 3 people.
Which page did you go to? It's on the
This is
16th.
a different,
16th.
this
No,
is-
there was, but I'm just saying, when the school board has their,
No,
No.
I've been waiting for something like this to come up. So, because I mean, I look at it all the time trying to understand it. I think I understand it. But then when I'm talking to other people, I know they don't. And this is the first time that something like this is being presented. And
This isn't a SAU 36, this
Yes.
is the organization.
yes,
Okay, so I reached out to the New Hampshire School Funding Project and the SAU 36 superintendent. And they have come together September 16th at 6 p.m. They are holding an event to inform everybody in regards to the current process of funding for the schools, how it relates to our property taxes, and get it simplified for us to see exactly what's going on. And that has been something we've been working on for the last 2 months. But that day is the day that they've set, and the notices have gone out to all of the parents from SAU 36 in all of the towns surrounding that are in it. And it's also being reached out to other SAUs to join in if they want to. So
where's
that's
it,
probably why she's asking about that.
60% of our
Where-
property taxes.
where's it gonna be held?
It's being held at White Mountain Regional High School at 6 p.m. They have the notice up on their website. I was gonna ask if we could put the notice up on ours.
I think we should.
Is there any way to reschedule that meeting?
So we've got
The 16th?
community power coming. Yeah. Can we reschedule that?
And try.
Because I think you're right, it's very important.
Yeah,
60%.
give it a try.
Is
See
it
if the
envisioned as an
community
hour
can
meeting or
reschedule.
2 hours or?
This is probably gonna be about 2 hours. There's gonna be a couple of different things, and one of them is gonna be a way for everybody to actually learn how this works. They'll have sampling pieces, but it's a very, very good program for all of us to learn exactly what's going on.
And it's complicated, because we had, there was a committee when Carroll was trying to pull out of the SAU, the town of Carroll, and Tamala was a select board representative on that committee, and she would come back and talk to us about it. And so I know Carol and I learned a little bit about it, but it really would be good.
Yeah, it's excellent because it's them, it's SAU 36 superintendent, the school board, and the New Hampshire School Funding Project.
And it's not about budgeting.
This is all about what's going on in regards to how the schools are being funded and how our property taxes are affected by that funding and what we put into it and why our taxes vary from town to town in regards to the school funding.
Actually, more specifically, it's why our taxes are higher for paying for our school than in other parts of the state.
Yep.
There's inequities. We're on the wrong end of this, and, it would be great if people in the country could band together and have our voices heard that we are being unfairly taxed in comparison to other parts of the state. I think the select board hears it every year that why are our taxes so damn high? Well, it ain't you guys.
This will also take the level of blame off of yourselves and other select board members in addition to the schools, because it points to where this situation can be resolved and possibly help. So, if you can reschedule with the Energy Committee, that would be great.
I make a motion that we try to reschedule. And I'm looking at, could we move our meeting to Friday the 13th?
Can we see? Well, yes.
Sorry.
Can we see if maybe there's a meeting room at the high school we could use to have our select board meeting after the meeting?
That's why I was asking
Do you
about how
want
long
me
it
to
is.
connect?
No, I'm not gonna stay up until 11, 12 o'clock at night to do a select board meeting.
Why? We did before and
I
it was
don't care.
totally fine. I did a 14-hour day that day. I was great.
High five to you. I'm not doing it.
I won't have payroll to do. I won't have payroll ready
On Friday.
on Friday.
Or if we could meet prior to it, at least sign checks. You know, if we could meet at 5, if there was a room at the high school, then we could sign checks.
I'm here all
The
day.
signing check thing would be bad. I mean,
I'm-
that's a couple minutes, I'll be done, but to go through a 2 or 3 hour meeting after the fact, we could make another day. It'd be a lot easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I'm looking at my schedule and I just can't.
I'm open to meet anytime on Monday after like 2 o'clock. My checks are done by 2 o'clock. So,
I can meet earlier on Monday.
You have to speak up a little bit.
I could meet earlier on Monday the 16th.
I mean, I'll still see if I can change Community Power, their presentation. And,
I mean, I can come in earlier than 6 to have our meeting, get through the basics on the 16th if we get here. I don't know what works for you, Eric, but, you know, I mean.
You know, at 3:30 now.
So we could meet like at 4.
Yeah.
Try to keep it to an hour so we've got a break for dinner and then get up to the high school. Does that work for you?
works for me. So on the 16th, we're gonna change the select board meeting to 4 PM. Here, at the municipal building. And then we will continue or reconvene at 6 PM at White Mountain Regional. For that meeting, or presentation, or whatever we're calling it. You were going with a motion there.
I make a motion that we move our select board meeting for September 16th to 4 o'clock. We'll meet until 5, and then we will reconvene at 6 o'clock at the White Mountain Regional High School for the SAU 36 meeting. And in conjunction with that, we're going to ask to reschedule the community power presentation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I got a question unrelated to any of that. Back to Smith Road, at the last meeting, Adam was talking about the Smith Road options, and I didn't hear what he said about putting it in Cushman Cemetery.
We can't.
You can't.
And what was the reason?
The state property line's here, and then their well's just behind the house.
3 different properties are crossed in the path that they have that would come from their house into the cemetery. The neighbors, the state, and the cemetery.
And the well and the well lines and how the road goes, it would actually take more work to build the road over through there.
Okay. And about Cushman Cemetery, I've got a comment, maybe Jeanette or somebody could ask the road crew, ask Adam, when you come out of the lower driveway, the Littleton end of Cushman Cemetery, you have to go down over a quick short knoll to the road, and then you have to pull into the road. Well, some of that water damage back in July has apparently put a little bit of a ditch right there. And so I went over it last week, I think. Didn't know there was a ditch there. I come down, you can't see it over the hood of your car because it's just short and steep, and then the road is right in front of you. I went bam right into that ditch and didn't do any damage, but if I'd had a low clearance vehicle, it might have taken out the bumper or, the shroud underneath the bumper.
So is it actually the driveway that comes out of Cushman, or is it at 135?
It's right at the edge of the pavement,
Okay.
and I
Like
did.
right up close to the bridge or down like
No,
middle
at
way
the,
through?
The farther driveway from the bridge.
it's
Towards
the exit of Cushman, not at the bridge.
Yeah,
Okay,
most people use it as an exit. When they're in the cemetery, then they go out that direction.
The southernmost exit.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a pretty abrupt little ditch. And I did send an email to the Division 1, the Lancaster Division of the DOT, and asked them if it would be their responsibility because it's right at the edge of the pavement. And he said he'd have somebody look into it. And so then he sent me a photo of it, and I mean, it didn't look really bad, but any normal car is probably gonna hit pretty hard when they come out of that driveway. He said it was not the state's responsibility, it would be the town's. So,
I think we need to get Adam involved, because what Adam has said is, you know, if the state like changes their road, then they have to change the interface, is my understanding, but this is
They didn't change the
the
road.
road there, so
yeah,
this is just ours washed away.
I think it just washed away, cause it just, during the July rains.
I'll talk to Adam.
Yeah, it probably isn't a big amount of work to do, I mean, few wheelbarrow loads of, gravel, but that's it.
Any more comments?
So just a brief update. So we filed the paperwork for the reimbursement for public assistance with FEMA. Jeanette and I did a little, it was an hour-long class here, and we filed all that paperwork and got it all done. It's all gone through. September 17th, which is a Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, FEMA and Office of Emergency Management and probably a bunch of other, like 7 or 8 different organizations here. They're going to start what they call recovery scoping meeting. So whatever we have done already, we will be doing all the paperwork on that. They want to know what is completed, and then what isn't completed, we're going to be going back out over a course of 1 to 4 days and evaluating all of the things in town that need to be done. So your Smith Road may come into there, and there'll be a representative from FEMA right there looking at that at the same time. Maybe it might pay to have some of your answers before then, and then we can also discuss it with them, because they will also be the people paying the reimbursement, hopefully to do whatever we need to do there. So that may all tie together based on whatever we decide that we're going to do. But they're going to be here reevaluating all of that, looking at everything, and putting all of the final stuff together to start this process of getting reimbursed for these damages.
Good.
So anybody that wants to be here from the board and et cetera is welcome to come. We're going to be starting here with a meeting, and then at some point going back out into the field. So I have received the paperwork from FEMA where they've already started a lot of the paperwork road by road by road, and what they saw when they were here, what needs to be done, and then we need to input what we have done at this point. I think I have most all of the bills. I know Jeanette does. We've been working through this and following this recovery process, so hopefully we can get this somewhat finalized and come up with a plan here and hopefully come up with an amount. I'm not sure, we're gonna have to talk to them. Obviously, we wanna make real sure we're looking at long-term here. It's great that we've done some repair work, but we need to get more than just what we have done to this point. We wanna make sure that we don't sell ourselves short in this recovery money and the recovery process of this. So I think it'll be real important meeting with them and discussing all of this, and they're gonna help to get us through whatever we need to do here to finalize all of this. It is moving forward.
Yep.
I mean, we're right on top of it and moving forward. Adam, Jeanette, and I have been right on top of it. Jeanette and I especially have been following this and working it, trying to get everything, make sure that we're following everything that we need to follow, so, which we have done to this point. So, the 17th, if you're interested, will be the start of it,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock here.
Okay.
So, yep. That'll be the next step.
Anybody else? Make a motion on going to non-public today.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.